Howdy boys, UFC 310 ended last night, and I'm here to give my thoughts and opinions. Before I get into my initial reactions from last night, I'm going to try something new. Since most of the people that watch these videos have the attention span of a housefly, I'm going to give brief opinions on all of the fights before I get into the initial reactions. So, starting with Alejandro Pantoja and Kai Asakura, Pantoja showed that there are levels to this. UFC is the best organization in the league. No one else can compete. This is where all the top dogs lie. He also might have the best grappling in flyweight. He deserves fucking respect. Kai Asakura looked good, but he showed up, but he came short. He'll be a great addition to flyweight. Shavkat and Ian Gary decided to stink up the place. Shavkat lost aura. Ian gained respect. No one could have saw that outcome happening. If both of those guys perform like that or continue to perform like that, I am not confident in them beating JDM, Prates, Usman, Bilal, hell, maybe not even Colby and Buckley. Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov, an actual fucking robbery. Both guys have improved greatly in some areas. Gane with the grappling, Volkov with the striking. But terrible fucking decision. Maybe we should send that CEO assassin after the judges. Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie. Nepo baby, soy bottom boy Kron Gracie gets KO'd by based, Jesus-loving flat earther Bryce Mitchell. The door is over there, Kron. We don't need your butt-scooting, guard-pulling, loser ass in here. We ain't got the time and space. So get out, boy. Nate Landwehr and Doohoo Choi pour one out for the homie. Nate the train never left the station. Bro forgot he started the fight in half speed. Doohoo looked like a monster in there. Dominic Reyes and Anthony Smith. I felt bad for Anthony Smith. He was obviously going through some shit. I think he should hang it up soon. One of his worst performances. He doesn't need to take any more unnecessary damage. Vicente Luque and Thimba Garimbo. My lord, am I glad to be wrong about a fight. Goddamn, Vicente Luque returned to form. Starched Thimba just like he should have. Mavzar and Aljo, amazing grappling, atrocious striking. Both these dudes get starched by Ilya. Randy Brown and Brian Battle, it sucks to have to see my boy win like that, but he did what he needed. If Randy Brown was worth a shit, he'd be able to reverse the clinch and separate. It's my opinion. Chris Weidman and Eric Anders. Chris Weidman's controller died after he went for that guillotine. Don't know what really happened there. Cody Durden and Joshua Van. Joshua Van is the man. If he was 2 inches taller, he'd be fucking ruling flyweight, but sadly he is a legal dwarf. Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin. The Unks had their mid-off at the barbecue cookout, and we discovered that Max Griffin might be the worst fighter of all time. Kinda can't stand watching either of these guys fight. Chase Hooper and Clay Guida. Chase Hooper is him. He is White Charles Oliveira. He is Mr. Hands. Deal with it. Future GOAT. Kennedy Nezachukwu versus Lucas Bresky. Kennedy, congratulations, my man. You finally beat an opponent who is not crippled and obese. But he was dog shit. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get into the initial reactions. Alejandro Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. I went with Pantoja, I think by 4th round submission, or some shit like that. Gets it done in round 2. Pantoja looked fucking fantastic. Kai didn't look bad, but he was definitely a step behind in the grappling. Pantoja got a couple of really good takedowns. His back take specifically was phenomenal. And he was also landing a lot of good strikes. Asakura did come close with some flying knees and some punches up against the cage, but they all fell short. Pantoja's got a granite fucking chin. Yeah, he looked really good. Rough debut for Asakura. Maybe he should have had a fight or two before challenging for the belt, but I don't think it would have really changed the outcome. Pantoja's grappling is too slick. Kind of very similar to his fight with Perez, where he just took the back early and subbed him, except this was a round longer than that. And yeah, it was such a quick, efficient fight for Pantoja. I'm kind of struggling to find more things to talk about. I'm Curious as to who they're going to give him next. I don't know if it'd be like a Royval rematch or something. Maybe Kai Kara France. He'll take on another Kai. Don't know, but I most likely will be rooting for him regardless. His grappling, I think, is better than anyone in the division, so it's always a good equalizer. And it'll be nice to see Kai against someone again, because I was liking what I was seeing. But as I predicted, he does have this disregard for striking and submissions. He just faces danger with a smile on his face, and it just leads him to trouble. He was getting cracked a lot, and then just got fucking, I don't even want to say lazy. He just got caught. I mean, the back take was so fucking fast. It came out of nowhere. And he just had really no answer to get Pantoja off of him. As soon as he had gotten the back, it wasn't very long after it that he locked in the choke. Fantastic win from Pantoja. Excited to see him get back in there. Also, a few more wins. Pantoja arguably will be the flyweight GOAT. His last 4 wins now are arguably better than DJ's wins. It kind of sucks to see people just shitting on him constantly. As soon as he had won, you could just see droves of people exiting the arena, not listening to him, not listening to his post-fight speech, or even watching the highlights on the screens. And everybody, I don't know, I'll just see in comment sections people just shitting on him, and it just sucks, because he's honestly a fun fighter. He is the epitome of a marauder, but a marauder with a lot of skill. And he just doesn't get the respect he deserves. Great win. Big Pantoja fan. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Gary. I'd went with Rakhmonov by 4th round submission, and he gets it done by unanimous decision. This fight underdelivered heavily. It was quite boring at times. Round 1 was an absolute snooze fest, just clinching up against the cage, with Shavkat pretty much doing nothing but just holding Ian there, looking for a takedown, and Ian just fucking sitting there. I can't even blame Rakhmonov too much for just holding Ian against the cage, because Gary should be able to reverse Shavkat and separate. Second round was a little better. There was some actual striking in it and whatnot, but it was still also really boring. I mean, pretty much every round was the same up until 4 and 5, where Rakhmonov finally got Gary down in 4, was somewhat close to a submission, lost it, and then the same thing happened in 5, but reversed, where Ian got Shavkat down and was the closest to a finish with a rear naked. Didn't get it either. And that was pretty much the whole fight. They barely threw north of 100 strikes apiece. And yeah, I'm actually struggling to talk about a 5-round title eliminator fight. Ian Gary's balance is incredible. He defended most of Shavkat's takedowns. The only ones Shavkat got were the ones where he got very deep very quickly. Yeah, there's really not much to talk about this fight. Shavkat just pretty much lost all of his aura. I think Belal, if he performs like that, Belal handedly beats him, in my opinion. I don't see how not. Belal is so fucking active and throws nonstop and shoots a million takedowns. So, I see Belal beating Shavkat. If Ian works his way back up to a title shot and Belal is still champion, same thing. I think Belal just outpaces him, smothers him. Pretty shitty fight, not gonna lie. Don't even know what else to say. Pretty much, I don't have anything else to say. Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. This is the first fight that I have covered that I will confidently say this was a robbery. I thought Volkov won round 2 and 3, potentially even won round 1. Absolute bullshit. And I picked Gane by decision. I should have known that Volkov has improved more. Gane did improve, I will say. His grappling looked a lot better, but it wasn't enough to compete with Volkov's grappling. And around round 2, I thought for a second, I was like, man, has Gane regressed in striking? But it's not that Gane got worse at striking. It's that Volkov's striking has gotten so much better that they're pretty equal, very comparable to one another. At points, Volkov was outstriking Gane, and I think he landed the heaviest strike of the fight. But fucking, for whatever reason, they gave it to Gane. Maybe it's they just want John Jones's Cyril Gane win to age better, or whatever the fuck. I just think it's completely bullshit. Fucking hell. Round 1 was fantastic. It was some of the best heavyweight grappling I've seen in a while. It was kind of a treat to watch. Round 2 was pretty much all on the feet, and it was very back and forth. I still thought Volkov easily got the edge and had some good grappling moments at the end. Round 3 was the stinker, though. Volkov got Gane down, and they pretty much just stayed in one position for most of the round, with Volkov landing strikes from up top. Easily winning the round. Gane did fucking nothing that round. But they give Gane the win for whatever bullshit reason they have. Aspinall clears both of these guys easy. Even with the improvements that Gane has made in the grappling, he ain't getting past Aspinall. Hell, maybe even Curtis Blades has a good fight against Gane. I don't know. It was a good fight. Just goddamn, the decision really marred my opinion of it. And round 3 was just pretty awful and boring. I wish the referee would have at some point told him to work, get busy, because they stayed in like the same position for probably 3 minutes. But even with the bad decision, it was a good fight overall. Glad to see both guys improved. Volkov is just getting better and better as time goes on. It's honestly crazy. He's like pretty high up there for one of the most improved fighters on the roster currently. And Gane, his grappling has gotten pretty good. He even landed a few takedowns. I wish he would stop going. Like since he got that one fucking heel hook over Dontel Mays, was it? I can't even remember. It's been so long. But now he always goes for that heel hook. And I just feel like it's not going to work against some of these higher level guys. Someone like Volkov, who has legs like a tree trunk. I definitely feel like he gave up a position in round 2 or 1. I can't remember, where he went for a heel hook and Volkov got out of it. But yeah, good fight overall. Shitty decision. Boring round 3. Excited to see where they go next. Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. I went with Bryce Mitchell by, I don't even remember. I just knew he was going to win because Kron Gracie is not a fucking MMA fighter. He is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. And Bryce Mitchell gets it done by round 3 TKO after slamming him and landing 2 brutal elbows. Honestly, wish the fight would have been a little longer because I can't stand this motherfucker, dude. Gets such preferential treatment just because of his last name. Hasn't beat anyone of note in like fucking 6 years or some shit. Pretty much the entire fight was anytime Bryce would land something clean, they would engage in a clinch and Kron would pull guard every fucking time, and then he would just sit and wait for a submission. Every round was that. And then finally in round 3, when he decided to pull guard, Bryce slammed him, landed some body punches, Kron opened up, and then he landed 2 clean elbows on the jaw. Keith Peterson called it. Also want to mention that Keith Peterson had to be taking some Ozempic before this fight because it looks like a fucking, I don't know, a skeleton or some shit. But yeah, thank God Bryce Mitchell won this fight. There was a submission that was somewhat close at the end of round 2. Had me very nervous because I couldn't bear to listen to jiu-jitsu nerds fucking cream their pants if Kron would have managed to pull that off in round 2. But the MMA gods love us, so we didn't have to witness that. Thank fucking Christ. Goddamn, I might be more happy of this result than any fight on the card so far, just because Christ almighty, man, I can't stand watching that shit. The butt scooting, the guard pulling, it's a disgrace. It shouldn't be an MMA. It's just like a declaration of like, yeah, I am inferior and shit at this. I can't get you to the ground, so I'm just going to lay down and hope you will allow me to win. It's fucking disgusting. Thank God Bryce won. Doohoo Choi versus Nate the Train Landwehr. I went with Nate the Train by 2nd or 3rd round KO, and he gets TKO'd in round 3 in crucifix due to elbows. Doohoo Choi looked fantastic. This might be one of his best performances ever. At points, he looked fucking flawless. Round 1 was just a few more shots shy of being a 10-8. Nate looked awful in round 1. Had a better performance in round 2, but eventually got taken down and ground and pounded.
just he never had a good moment in this fight. He was so slow, just seemed out of it, not making excuses for him at all. I definitely think part of it was the fact that Dooku was so much faster and accurate, just on it from the start. Nate was pressuring, but he just could not get the first shot off on Dooku at any point. Round 3, Dooku got a... I didn't even necessarily get a takedown. They had a little exchange, and Nate ended up in that position, kind of like a Darce, and he just ended up falling, and Dooku followed him to the ground. Eventually got a crucifix, and just finished him from there, raining down some good elbows and shit. Nate could not manage to recover position or flip him over. Great performance from Dooku. Might be the best performance on the card so far. I might be forgetting a few performances. Well, actually, no. Fucking Vicente Luque had the best performance, but this one was right there because that fight ended so quickly, and this one was damn near 3 rounds of domination. Man, Jesus Christ, such a fucking flawless performance. I'm excited to see where Dooku goes next because that was just such a good fucking fight. I could rave about this fight forever, but hats off to Choi. Sad to see Nate the Train lose. Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. I'd went with Dominic Reyes by round 3 TKO, and he gets it done in round 2 by TKO. Anthony looked terrible. I know he was going through some shit mentally during the training camp, but this is probably the worst performance by Anthony Smith I've ever seen. It was just bad all around. Round 1, it was somewhat even up until like the last half of it, where Reyes started landing some good straights, and then Anthony just put his hands down and just started taking the punches, and probably took 12 jabs and a cross to the face in a row, just hands down, ate them, and then stuck his tongue out and took a few more. So he, in my opinion, handedly lost round 1. And then round 2, he shoots for a bad takedown, gets it stuffed up against a cage, and Dominic is just landing these clean tomahawk elbows right on the ear over and over and over and over, and Anthony just starts crumbling into a ball, and then Reyes just stays on top and just keeps on punching him. And 2 or 3 minutes later, the fight gets called at like 14 seconds left in round 2. Just Anthony had pretty much no moments the entire fight. Easy win from Reyes. Love to see him getting wins. Big Reyes fan. Hated to see him go on a 3-fight KO loss streak. And yeah, I wish he could have had like I mean, it's not a bad performance by Reyes by any means, but it's like he pretty much beat up a punching bag that was moving forward. So as good of a win as it is, it kind of just sucks that he didn't really get to show out against an opponent that seemed to, want to be there. But nonetheless, love to see Reyes winning. Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. I'm glad that I was wrong. Vicente Luque went out there and starched Themba Gorimbo, knocked him down with a straight, followed up with a Darce, and subbed him fast. He looked like himself, and I'm fucking glad for it. I was absolutely worried for him with his last performance where he just looked like a ghost of himself. But he showed up tonight, looked like his former self, and man, I'm just glad. I don't even know what to say more about it. It was like a 20-second fight. It was very short. Themba had, I think he landed like a leg kick or 2. They were decent, but that was about it. Great performance from Luque. Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. I went with Movsar by decision, and he gets it done by unanimous decision. The deciding factor in this fight for Movsar to win was the fact that he was willing to throw ground and pound where Aljamain was not. Aljamain was outstriking him on the feet and making Movsar look really bad on the feet, like fucking atrocious. He landed one really good overhand when he caught one of Aljo's kicks in round 2, and that was nice. But other than that, he looked terrible on the feet. But on the ground, Aljamain would be going for a position, secure it, and then just either be trying to set up a submission or go to the next position. He would never fucking ground and pound Movsar, and that's what cost him the fight. In round 2, he was doing a lot of big movements on the ground, really explosive strength-based transitions and shit, and it wasn't winning him the round, and all Movsar had to do was wait till he could get to a position to throw just a few little hammer fists and hooks, and it would win him the round because not much would be happening outside of control time. And then those few shots of ground and pound Movsar would get, it would win him the round. I don't doubt that there'll probably be people that will call this a robbery. They're fucking crazy. Not a robbery. The stats as the fight ended are 136 strikes to 40. Not even close at all. Easy for Movsar. Neither of these guys are beating Ilya, and I don't think Movsar beats Diego in a rematch. Wasn't the worst fight, but definitely not the most exciting. The grappling was pretty fun to watch, but the striking was pretty atrocious.
Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. I'd went with Brian Battle by whatever he wants, and he gets it done by split decision. This was not his best performance, and he also missed weight by 4 pounds, so that will, in some people's mind, pretty much nullify this performance. Even if he had gotten a finish, some people won't even consider it a real win because of a weight miss that bad. So not the best look for my boy Brian Battle, but still got it done. Most of his best work that he did was in the clinch up against the cage. He was landing a lot of good knees to Randy Brown, and that really only started happening after the second round. Randy easily won round 1, just outstriking Brian at distance and just landing some incredible body shots. Both dudes have iron cores because Randy was landing hooks clean as day on Brian, and Brian landed about, I don't know, like 40 fucking knees on Randy. And neither guy crumpled or went down. So tough as shit, both guys. Brian tried a few takedowns, like 6 or 7, and never ended up getting any of them. Randy's takedown defense was too good. He did manage to wizard trip, I think that's what it was, Brian a couple of times when he would just be getting a little out of position on a takedown. And yeah, like I said, not the greatest performance from Brian. He didn't look that great. He was getting caught a lot on the feet, couldn't get his takedowns. He kind of had to make it a dirty fight and really drag it out in the clinch to get this one done. Randy looked pretty decent, I will say, on the feet. He looked pretty good. Brian definitely had trouble with Randy's reach and height. He's like a better version of Neil Magny at this weight class in terms of using his frame. Brian needs to up his striking defense, get some head movement. He is very plotty, and he keeps his guard so high that for dudes like Randy, who are kind of snipers, can just easily hit him to the body. And eventually, if he faces someone like Prates, that's going to be a problem for him. So while it was a all-right performance, he needs to improve more to get to the top 15 and further on. Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. I'd went with Chris Weidman by decision, but Eric Anders gets it done with ground and pound late round 2. I didn't get to watch the first 2 minutes of round 1. I was busy taking a shit, but as soon as I did step back into my room, Eric Anders landed an illegal knee, and they separated the fight for a little bit. Shortly after, Weidman knocked Anders down with a straight, I think it was. Went to the ground, followed up with some shots, didn't manage to find the finish. Round 2, Eric Anders goes for a takedown on Weidman, and Weidman goes for a guillotine. Does not find it, gets reversed, and just forgets how to fight. Just starts getting beat up in half guard, not defending himself, not looking to advance position, just kind of laying stationary and just getting teed off on. Like, no resistance from Weidman. Eric Anders was just dribbling his head off the canvas, and Weidman was just kind of looking around into space. I was confused as to what the hell was happening. It was like he completely forgot how to do anything. And he ended up getting a TKO. I mean, it's just so fucking weird. It's like, good win, but not a good finish. I mean, it was literally like beating up a laying down heavy bag. It was so fucking strange. Good performance for Anders. He landed a few good head kicks and shit. He did get caught, though, by Chris Weidman, and that's not the best look, but not a bad fight. Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. I'd went with Joshua Van, and he gets it done by unanimous decision. First round was touch and go. Cody got a takedown about halfway through and controlled Van for a good portion of it. And Van just never really looks good in round 1, so he got outstruck too. But then after that, round 2 and 3 were completely Van's. He was just volume striking Cody for 10 minutes, just absolutely beating the fuck out of him with every strike he could think of. Overhands, hooks, uppercuts, straights. Beautiful combos, high and low.
The only thing he really didn't throw was leg kicks, but he didn't really need them. Cody's shots were very labored after round one. He wasn't getting as deep or as quick as he needed to the hips to take Joshua Van down. And Joshua just fucking toyed with him, man. It was fucking eye candy to watch him just beat the shit out of Cody Durden. There were times where I was a little worried that he was overextending and keeping his hands too low. He stayed disciplined and got it done pretty easily. Great performance from Joshua Van. I'm excited to see where he goes next. He still is just, he's so fucking small for flyweight, man. If he was in there with someone like Asakura, he'd look like a literal midget. But his skill level is so high, and he's so young, so I think he can get to the top 5. He will have some trouble with some of the bigger guys, but he's so damn good. Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. I'd went with Max Griffin by decision. Chiesa gets it done by 3rd round submission. This was a hard fight to watch. My God, the striking on display was some of the worst I've ever seen. Max Griffin did not look like he even belonged in the UFC. Just terrible, abysmal. First 2 rounds were easy for Chiesa. Max Griffin barely threw 50 strikes throughout the whole fight. Just absolute dog shit. I don't even really know what to say about it. It was just fucking horrible. Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. I went with Chase Hooper by round 2 sub, but he finds it in round 1. This was quite a fun fight while it lasted. The scrambles were incredible. Chase's takedowns looked really good. His striking also looked improved. I was worried at some moments he was a little sloppy with his defense in the striking. Like on one of the breaks from the clinch, he got caught with a liver shot. And a few other shots up top, but nothing too powerful that he got caught with. But he will need to improve that when moving up the rankings, especially with guys who are more explosive and accurate than Clay Guida. But he was also muscling Clay around a little bit, which is pretty impressive, seeing as Clay is a ball of muscle and got that old man strength. Chase looked good. Even more improved than last time. He is truly the white Charles Oliveira. He shall become lightweight GOAT. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lucas Bresky. I'd went with Kennedy by... I don't even remember what I went with. I just went with Kennedy. He gets it done by TKO late in round 1. 9 seconds left to go. Caught him with a big hook as they were exchanging in a combo. Caught him clean. Followed up with some nasty hammer fist ground and pound. And finished him off. Neither guy looked too great. Both looked really slow for heavyweight, especially in the first round. Like, they looked like they were striking gassed, but I guess that's what you get when you're watching unranked heavyweight. Lucas looks small for heavyweight. I would say he should move down to light heavyweight, but seeing as his chin isn't the greatest at heavyweight, cutting more weight probably wouldn't be the best idea. But good win from Kennedy. He was mixing it up well. Could have used some more leg kicks. He only threw about 3 or 4, landed 2. Body kicks look nice. His teep to the body is pretty money most of the time when he fights. I didn't like this thing that he kept doing during it. He would like lower his torso and head and just kind of have his hands down and back up out of striking range. And Lucas kept catching him when he was doing that. And he would be wise to not do that against any noteworthy fighters. Like someone like Curtis Blades would absolutely abuse him in that position. But decent fight. Good finish.